Have you ever wondered, what does love really mean? How to build a relationship that is not only sustainable but also happy? There's a unique kind of silence that stings, a message left unread, a call unanswered, a woman who once seemed close now suddenly distant. It makes you question everything, your worth, your actions, even your identity. But what if her silence isn't a rejection, but a revelation? A test, not of how much you want her, but of how much you truly value yourself.
In this video, we're not chasing answers. We're reclaiming power. These are 7 powerful ways to respond when a woman ignores you, and each one brings you closer to the man you were always meant to become. Welcome to the channel, Stoic Love Wisdom. This is where lessons about love will help you better understand this complex emotion. In today's video, we will learn about these are things that may change the way you look at love and life.
Be prepared because the secrets and insights you are about to discover may make you look back at yourself and the relationships around you. Before we begin, find a quiet space, put on your headphones and relax. Let your mind completely immerse in these shares and enjoy every wonderful moment. Are you ready to discover new things about love? Let's start the journey with us right now. Way 1. Stay calm, don't react too quickly. When a woman starts to ignore you, the first thing that often kicks in is confusion. Then come the feelings of frustration, self-doubt, maybe even anger. It's natural. You're human. But here's the truth, how you respond in that exact moment says far more about your character than anything she's doing. And that's where most men fall into the trap, they react too quickly, too emotionally, and too obviously. Let's get one thing straight. Reacting emotionally is a form of giving away power. Think about it. The moment she pulls away and you instantly chase, beg, question, or get upset, you're letting her control the rhythm of the interaction. Instead of showing strength, you're showing insecurity. Instead of appearing composed, you appear chaotic. Instead of being the man she's drawn to, you become the man trying to fix something she may not even want fixed. So the first rule of power in relationships, or in life, is to remain calm. Especially when someone tries to shake your emotional state. But staying calm doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means acknowledging them privately, processing them maturely, and choosing your actions from a place of strength rather than reactivity. Let's dig deeper into why staying calm is not just smart, it's attractive. When you stay calm, you show emotional discipline. And emotional discipline is a rare quality. Most people are slaves to their feelings. They lash out, they panic, they spiral. When you choose stillness instead of noise, distance instead of desperation, and logic instead of drama, you separate yourself from the crowd. You become the kind of man who doesn't chase validation, but lets his value speak for itself. Women notice this. Trust me, they do. Silence, when used wisely, can be louder than words. If she expects you to chase and you don't, if she wants a reaction and gets stillness instead, she'll feel the shift. Suddenly, the power dynamic changes. She's not just ignoring someone who needs her attention, she's dealing with someone who knows his worth with or without her. It might sting at first. You might want to send that paragraph-long message, ask her what went wrong, or scroll through her social media looking for clues. But those actions only feed your anxiety, not your confidence. They might bring temporary relief, but in the long run, they damage your image, both in her eyes and in your own. So what should you do when a woman starts to ignore you? Pause. Breathe. Resist the urge to fix something immediately. Tell yourself, right now, my silence is my strength. Give her space, not as a manipulation tactic, but because you respect both her boundaries and your own dignity. Use that time to reflect. Ask yourself, why does this bother me so much? Am I afraid of rejection, or am I attached to the idea of her? Sometimes what hurts us most is not the person, but the ego wound that comes from being overlooked. But when you understand the difference, you grow. You mature. You gain wisdom. And here's the beautiful part, even if she never comes back, even if the connection fades, you come out of it stronger than before, because you learn to stand still in the face of emotional turbulence. That's the kind of strength that builds kings, not just relationships. On the other hand, if she does come back, and she often will, it will be because she respects the way you handled the situation. She'll see that you didn't fall apart. That you didn't need her to be okay. And that's attractive on a primal level. You see, confidence isn't just about walking with swagger or saying the right things. It's about how you manage yourself when things don't go your way. That's where real confidence is forged, in the fire of disappointment, in the silence of being ignored, in the restraint of not reacting too fast. So next time a woman ignores you, don't reach for your phone. Don't type that needy message. Don't ask mutual friends what's going on. Instead, sit with your emotions. Stay grounded. Keep your dignity. Because a man who doesn't react is a man who's already in control. And that, more than anything, is what separates the average from the exceptional. Have you ever encountered a similar situation? If so, please tell me your story in the comments. I look forward to hearing interesting experiences from you. And if you find this content useful, please like and share to spread the message to more people. Thank you for your support. Let's continue together. Way 2. Take a step back, give her space. When a woman starts to pull away, the most instinctive reaction for many men is to move closer. To reach out. To fix. To chase. But often, this only deepens the distance. It's like trying to grab onto smoke, the tighter you hold, the quicker it slips through your fingers. Here's the truth most men don't want to hear: sometimes, the most powerful move you can make is to take a step back. It feels counterintuitive. You care about her, you're confused, and you want clarity. But constantly texting her, calling her, or trying to force a response doesn't bring clarity, it brings pressure. And pressure kills attraction. Women, like anyone else, sometimes need space. Not because they've stopped caring, but because they're sorting through their own thoughts and emotions. Life could be overwhelming. They could be testing boundaries. Or they could simply need time to evaluate how they truly feel. And in those moments, your reaction becomes a defining factor. If you respect that space, you signal emotional maturity. If you don't, you risk appearing desperate, insecure, or unable to handle emotional complexity. Let's be clear, giving her space does not mean giving up. It means having enough self-respect and emotional control to allow the dynamic to breathe. Think of it like music: sometimes, the pause between the notes is just as important as the notes themselves. It creates rhythm, tension, and depth. By stepping back, you're allowing her the room to feel your absence. And that's critical. Because often, people don't realize what they value until it's no longer right in front of them. When you're constantly present, always available, you become predictable. Familiarity can breed indifference, especially if there's no contrast. But when you step away, you introduce mystery. You give her a chance to wonder: where did he go? Why isn't he chasing me? Does he value himself more than this situation? These questions, born from your absence, are more powerful than any words you could say. Of course, stepping back isn't easy. It requires restraint. It demands patience. And most of all, it challenges your ego. Because your ego will scream at you to do something. To fix it. To not lose control. But here's the truth: control doesn't come from action. It comes from awareness. And awareness tells you that chasing someone who's pulling away rarely brings them closer. Instead, it often confirms their reasons for leaving in the first place. So what does stepping back look like in action? It means you don't send a double text when she leaves you unread. It means you don't scroll endlessly through her stories trying to interpret hidden messages. It means you focus on your life, your goals, your circle, your growth. Because your time is valuable and your energy is sacred. You shift your mindset from, how do I win her back, to, how do I keep building a life that inspires people to stay? That's where true confidence lives, not in control, but in calm. Now, let's talk about what happens when you give her space. One of two things will happen: she'll notice your absence, reflect on the connection, and eventually reach back out, often with a new level of appreciation or clarity. She'll remain distant, revealing that her heart or interest was never fully there to begin with, and in that case, your decision to step back saved you from chasing someone who was never really available. Either way, you win. Because you didn't lose yourself trying to keep someone else. You honored your own worth. You showed that you don't beg for attention, you attract it naturally, by being grounded, self-aware, and emotionally composed. Remember, in healthy relationships, space is not a threat. It's a tool for growth. It allows both individuals to reflect, recharge, and realign. If a connection is real, it will survive space. In fact, it may grow stronger because of it. But if space causes the bond to dissolve, then it wasn't a bond worth clinging to. So, the next time a woman pulls away, don't panic. Don't chase. Instead, take a breath. Take a step back. Let her feel the weight of your absence, not the pressure of your presence. And as you do, turn that energy inward. Work on your goals. Spend time with people who uplift you. Build the kind of life that makes you proud, because that is the life someone else will want to be part of, not out of obligation, but out of admiration. Taking a step back isn't weakness. It's wisdom. And the man who understands when to give space, is the man who never has to beg for love. If you are still watching this video, do not hesitate to comment, continue, to let me know. Leave your thoughts and questions in the comments section below. I look forward to hearing from you, and do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel so that I have more motivation to create more good and meaningful videos. Let's continue together. Way 3. Focus on yourself, grow every day. When she's silent and distant, it's tempting to dwell on what went wrong or replay every interaction in your head. Yet true strength is measured not by how loudly you demand attention, but by how steadfastly you invest in your own growth. Shifting your focus inward transforms frustration into purpose and positions you as the most attractive, magnetic version of yourself. Embrace self-awareness. The journey begins with honest self-reflection. Ask yourself, what are my goals beyond this relationship? Where do I want to be in 6 months, a year, 5 years? When you clarify your vision, whether it's career advancement, fitness milestones, or mastering a new skill, you create a roadmap that transcends any single person's behavior. This blueprint becomes your anchor, keeping you grounded when emotions rise. Design a daily growth routine. Consistency compounds over time. Build a routine that prioritizes personal development. Morning ritual: start each day with a purposeful practice, a short meditation, journaling 3 things you're grateful for, or reading a few pages of a mindset-focused book. Even 10 minutes can prime your mind for positivity and resilience. Health and fitness: commit to regular exercise, balanced nutrition, and adequate rest. Physical discipline fuels mental discipline. When you push through a challenging workout or choose a wholesome meal, you're reinforcing the message: you honor yourself. Skill development: dedicate time every day to learn something new. Whether it's improving public speaking, learning a language, or honing a professional skill, continuous education sharpens your intellect and your confidence. Set measurable milestones. Vague aspirations become real when they're measurable. Break down your goals into weekly or monthly targets. For example, aim to read one personal development book per month, add 5 pounds to your deadlift in 8 weeks, or complete an online course by a specific date. Tracking progress provides a sense of accomplishment and shifts your focus from her silence to your own achievements. Cultivate a growth mindset. Growth isn't linear. You will encounter setbacks, missed workouts, slow progress on a project, or days when motivation wanes. See these not as failures, but as feedback. Celebrate small wins and treat obstacles as opportunities to adapt. When she reaches back out, she'll find a man who doesn't crumble at the first sign of resistance, but who perseveres and thrives despite it. Expand your social and professional circles. Investing in yourself also means enriching your environment. Engage with people who inspire you, attend industry meetups, join a book club, or participate in community events. New connections broaden your perspective, introduce fresh ideas, and remind you that your worth isn't defined by one relationship. Plus, vibrant social engagement naturally elevates your attractiveness. Rediscover your passions. When was the last time you pursued a hobby purely for enjoyment? Playing guitar, cooking a challenging recipe, painting, or hiking a new trail, immersing yourself in activities you love reignites enthusiasm and reminds you who you are at your core. Passion projects not only relieve stress, but they also create stories you can share, sparking genuine curiosity and admiration from others, including her. Document and celebrate your journey. Keep a progress journal or log where you record daily or weekly accomplishments. Seeing your evolution on paper builds momentum. On days when you feel invisible, you can flip back and remind yourself of all you've achieved, knowledge gained, habits cultivated, new friendships formed. This affirmation reinforces that your life is rich and meaningful, regardless of her attention. Demonstrate authentic confidence. As you grow, you'll notice a shift in how you carry yourself. Confidence isn't about arrogance or displaying wealth, it's an inner conviction born from consistent action and self-respect. You walk taller, speak more clearly, and carry an energy that doesn't depend on her reaction. That quiet assurance speaks volumes and often draws people back in, intrigued and inspired by your self-reliance. Model emotional independence. Focusing on yourself sends a powerful message: you're complete on your own. Emotional independence isn't about shutting down feelings, it's about regulating them. When she notices you thriving, sharing your successes, engaging in exciting experiences, and radiating positivity, she'll see that your happiness doesn't hinge on her presence. That realization can shift her perspective, prompting curiosity and renewed interest. Maintain consistency over time. Lasting transformation takes time. Avoid quick fixes or superficial changes. Instead, commit to the long haul. Over weeks and months, small improvements accumulate into profound growth. By the time she re-engages, you'll be not only more accomplished, but also more discerning about what you deserve in a partner. Way 4. Don't try to seem important, become genuinely important. There's a crucial difference between appearing valuable and being valuable. When a woman starts ignoring you, the temptation to prove your worth skyrockets. You may find yourself posting calculated stories on social media, crafting clever captions, dressing up just to be seen, or making sure she notices what you're doing, even if it's all just a performance. But here's the raw truth. If you have to try to seem important, it's a sign that deep down, you don't feel important yet. That's not an insult, it's a wake-up call. Real value isn't loud. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't announce itself to be recognized. When you genuinely become someone of substance, presence, and purpose, people notice, without you ever having to force their attention. So, instead of asking, "How can I make her notice me again?" ask this: "What am I building that speaks for itself?" Stop performing, start becoming. When you chase attention, you train yourself to rely on external reactions. It's a vicious cycle. You post something, check to see if she's viewed it, feel a rush when she does, or a drop when she doesn't. In that loop, you're not living for yourself, you're living for her gaze. But growth happens when you break that pattern. When you begin to build a life that matters, one rooted in purpose, not performance, your energy shifts. You walk differently. You speak with intention. And most importantly, your validation becomes internal, not external. You stop needing her to see you, because you've already seen yourself. The power of invisible work. Here's the irony: the most important changes you make won't be visible at first. No one sees you waking up early to read a book, working on a business idea late into the night, or pushing through a solo gym session when you don't feel like it. This invisible work won't earn you instant applause, but it silently builds the foundation of someone remarkable. In time, the results speak louder than any attempt to impress ever could. Success, clarity, discipline, they radiate in everything you do. And when she sees you again, if she does, it's not a version of you trying to be noticed. It's a version of you she can't ignore. Silence is not a setback, it's an opportunity. When she withdraws, you have two choices: react or rebuild. Reacting is what most people do. They panic, reach out impulsively, or pretend they've moved on while secretly hoping for her return. Rebuilding is what few men have the courage to do. Rebuilding means taking that silence and turning it into space. Space to reflect. Space to evolve. Space to ask yourself, what kind of man do I want to become? And then slowly, patiently, becoming that man, not to get her back, but because he's who you were always meant to be. Master something of your own. Nothing is more attractive than a man obsessed with his vision, his craft, his growth. Whether it's building a business, creating art, pursuing excellence in your career, or developing a talent that sets you apart, mastery is magnetic. Not because of the applause it brings, but because of the energy it emits. People can feel when you're on a mission. They sense your purpose. And while others are scrambling to be seen, you're focused on building something that lasts. That's the energy of someone who no longer needs to prove anything, he just is. Respect earned silently is never forgotten. You don't have to announce your worth. You just have to embody it. When you walk into a room with quiet confidence, when you speak with intention rather than trying to impress, when your actions align with your words, people respect you. Even if they don't say it. Even if they try to pretend they don't notice. Respect earned silently leaves a deeper imprint than validation begged for. Eventually, she'll notice, not because you demanded her attention, but because your energy shifted. And maybe, just maybe, she'll wonder how she ever overlooked someone becoming this solid, this powerful, this magnetic. Let her curiosity be the reward of your evolution. This isn't about revenge or playing games. It's about transformation. When you focus on becoming important to yourself first, others naturally begin to recalibrate how they see you. Instead of trying to force her to chase, become the man she regrets letting go of. Not by pretending. By evolving. So, stop rehearsing for someone else's attention. Start showing up for your own. Build a life so aligned, so full, so purpose-driven, that whether she returns or not, you're already fulfilled. And that's when you'll realize, you were never trying to win her back. You were reclaiming yourself. Way 5. Reevaluate the relationship. Is she truly worth it? When a woman starts to ignore you, your instinct might be to fight harder for her attention. You may believe that persistence proves your devotion. That if you just show her how much you care, she'll eventually come back around. But here's a question most men forget to ask: is she truly worth the effort you're giving her? It's a difficult question. Because in the moment, your mind is clouded by attachment, hope, fear of loss, and perhaps your ego. But emotional maturity begins when you stop chasing validation and start asking hard, honest questions about the dynamic itself. Sometimes the most powerful decision you can make isn't to fight for someone, it's to step back and reassess whether they ever deserved a front row seat in your life to begin with. Is it love, or is it attachment? When you feel hurt by someone pulling away, it's natural to mistake the pain for deep love. But often, it's not love at all, it's attachment. You've become used to her presence. You've built emotional routines around her. And now that she's distant, your brain interprets it as loss. But loss of what, exactly? If the relationship was one-sided. If you were always the one initiating. If you constantly felt unsure of where you stood. Then you weren't in love, you were in imbalance. You were holding on to an idea of connection, not the reality of one. And now that she's ignoring you, the pain isn't necessarily because of her absence, it's because of what her absence forces you to confront: your fear of being alone, your doubts about your own worth, or your unmet emotional needs. So instead of chasing her harder, ask, was this connection healthy? Or was I just afraid to let go? What did she bring into your life, besides her presence? Relationships should elevate you, challenge you, support your growth. They should feel like a space of mutual respect, emotional safety, and shared purpose. But when you're being ignored, it's time to consider, did she actually bring those things? Did she listen when you spoke, or just wait for her turn to talk? Did she celebrate your wins and stand by you in your lows, or was she only present when it was convenient? Did she inspire you to become better? Or did you constantly feel like you had to prove yourself just to keep her attention? If she added more confusion than clarity. If you constantly walked on eggshells. If love felt like a test instead of a bond. Then what, exactly, are you fighting for? A relationship is supposed to be a partnership, not a battlefield where one side has to keep proving their worth. Respect must be mutual, not begged for. One of the clearest indicators of a woman's true feelings is how she acts when things aren't easy. If she ignores you during conflict, if she shuts down instead of communicating, if she uses silence as a weapon instead of working toward resolution, it says a lot. And what it says is, she's not ready for the emotional maturity a real relationship requires. Respect isn't about grand gestures. It's about consistency. About how someone treats you when they don't need to impress you anymore. If she can't show up with honesty, clarity, or basic communication, why are you pouring your heart into someone who sees your effort as optional? You are not a placeholder. You are not a backup plan. You are not someone to be entertained when she's bored or lonely. You are a man worthy of being chosen fully, or not at all. It's not giving up. It's waking up. Deciding to stop chasing someone who isn't matching your energy isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It means you've finally realized your value isn't up for negotiation. You don't have to hate her. You don't have to wish her harm. You simply have to release her from the pedestal you placed her on, and recenter yourself. Your time is valuable. Your emotional energy is finite. Why waste it on someone who can't even send a reply? Walk away with grace, not bitterness. If the relationship doesn't serve you, let it go, with dignity. Not with drama. Not with blame. Just with quiet strength and clarity. And as you walk away, remind yourself, you're not just losing someone who ignored you. You're making space for someone who will see you, fully, completely, and with the respect you deserve. The right woman will never leave you confused about how she feels. She won't punish you with silence. She won't make you chase clarity. She'll offer it freely, because real connection is built on mutual effort, not emotional games. So ask yourself, is she really worth it? And if the honest answer is no, let her go. Not because you're bitter, but because you've finally remembered who you are, and what you truly deserve. Way 6. Communicate calmly, don't apply pressure. When a woman starts to ignore you, the silence can be deafening. Your mind may spiral with questions: did I say something wrong? Is she losing interest? Should I ask her what's going on? And often, the urge is strong, to reach out immediately, to demand clarity, to fix things on the spot. But real power, real maturity, is found in the pause between emotion and action. Because communication is essential, but timing and tone are everything.
There's a difference between healthy communication and desperate pressure. One invites openness, the other pushes people further away. And in relationships, especially when things feel uncertain, knowing how, and when, to speak makes all the difference. Don't speak from panic. Speak from peace. When you're emotionally charged, it's easy to say too much, too soon, in a way that's more about soothing your anxiety than solving anything.
You might write long messages explaining yourself, demanding answers, or trying to justify your worth. But in doing so, you risk making the conversation about your needs, without considering her emotional state. She might be going through something personal. She might be unsure about the relationship. Or she might be intentionally pulling away. Whatever the case, overwhelming her with emotion or expectations won't bring her closer. So here's the rule: don't communicate just to react. Communicate to connect. And connection only happens when both people feel safe, not cornered. Let silence be your signal, not to push, but to pause. If she's gone quiet, take that as a cue to reflect, not to chase. Use that time to settle your thoughts, ground your emotions, and return to your inner center. Don't act out of fear. Fear-based communication always leads to regret. Wait until you can speak with clarity and calm. That's when your words carry weight. That's when you appear as a grounded man, not a panicked boy needing attention. When you do reach out, keep it simple and sincere. You don't need to pour out your heart in a paragraph. You don't need to decode her behavior. A calm, respectful message like, "Hey, I've noticed some distance lately. I'm here if you'd like to talk, no pressure at all." That's it. Short. Honest. No drama. No guilt. No emotional manipulation.
You're giving her space, while also showing maturity and emotional availability. This kind of message leaves the door open for honest conversation, without forcing it open. If she wants to talk, she will. If she doesn't, that silence speaks volumes. And you don't need to beg for a response, because your peace doesn't depend on her reply. Why calm communication is so powerful, because it demonstrates control, not over her, but over yourself. And self-control is a deeply attractive trait.
Women are highly attuned to emotional signals. When you approach from a place of stillness rather than storm, it shows that you're emotionally stable. That you're not governed by desperation. That you're the kind of man who can navigate difficult moments without crumbling. And whether the relationship continues or not, you've left a lasting impression. You showed up like a man, not with noise, but with presence. Avoid guilt-tripping, over-explaining, or forcing clarity. Let's be honest. When you feel ignored, it's tempting to say things like, "I guess I was just another guy to you. I deserve an explanation. You could at least tell me what I did wrong." But those words come from hurt, not power. They may be true in the moment, but they don't invite honest dialogue, they put the other person on the defensive. You might think you're asking for closure, but what you're really doing is trying to control her response to avoid discomfort. Healthy communication isn't about control. It's about connection. And real connection only exists when both people are free to speak, or not speak, without fear of guilt, blame, or emotional pressure. And what if she doesn't respond at all? Then you've gained clarity without compromising your dignity. You reached out once, calmly, respectfully, and that was enough. You don't need to double text, follow up, or chase. You've done your part. The rest is up to her. And if she walks away, you walk forward, because you've proven to yourself that even in moments of confusion, you don't break your character to keep someone. You grow through how you communicate when things feel uncertain. Moments like these aren't just about relationships, they're about you. About how you show up. About whether you communicate to connect or to control. About whether you're centered enough to speak from strength, not fear. So the next time you feel ignored, don't rush to fix it. Pause. Breathe. Wait until you're calm. Then speak with honesty, simplicity, and strength. And if you say nothing at all, let that silence be your choice, not your reaction. Because a man who can communicate clearly, without pressure, without panic, and without losing his center, is a man who never loses his worth, no matter who stays or walks away. Way 7. Be willing to let go, and make room for something new. One of the hardest truths you'll ever face in love is this: not everyone you care about is meant to stay. And sometimes, the woman you thought was the one you gave your time, your energy, your loyalty to, starts ignoring you. Pulls away. Disappears into silence. It hurts. Deeply. But pain, when you listen to it, often holds the wisdom your heart isn't ready to speak yet. And that wisdom is this. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is let go, not out of bitterness, not out of pride, but out of love for yourself. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging to what's no longer serving your growth. It means you stop trying to hold together something that only you are fighting for. It means you finally decide, I choose peace over confusion. I choose dignity over desperation. When you let go, you reclaim your power. There's a quiet strength in walking away from someone who won't meet you halfway. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Because the longer you hold on to someone who's emotionally unavailable, the more you make yourself unavailable to what the universe is truly trying to send you. And often, the thing keeping you stuck isn't the person, it's the story you've attached to them. You've convinced yourself that if you just wait long enough, she'll change. If you try harder, she'll finally see your worth. If you say the right thing, she'll come back. But that's not love. That's fantasy. Real love doesn't require you to beg, to shrink, to question yourself constantly. It meets you with presence, not distance. With clarity, not confusion. So let go, not because she doesn't matter, but because you matter too. Letting go is an act of self-respect. You don't need a dramatic goodbye. You don't need to burn bridges or make announcements. You just stop chasing what keeps running. You stop investing in someone who keeps withdrawing. You start putting that energy back where it belongs, into your own healing. Your own peace. Your own future. And as you do, something beautiful begins to happen. You create space. Space for clarity. Space for joy. Space for someone new. The truth is, life only gives you what you have room to receive. And when your heart is crowded with pain, confusion, and unrequited feelings, there's no space for something better to enter. But when you release what isn't aligned, you invite what is. And that new energy doesn't just come in the form of another person, it shows up in unexpected opportunities. New friendships. Renewed confidence. Deeper self-awareness. Creative breakthroughs. Because the moment you stop trying to force a connection that's falling apart, your soul breathes again. You begin to rediscover yourself, the version of you that isn't defined by someone else's presence or absence. What you tolerate sets the standard for what you attract. When you keep holding on to someone who disrespects your effort, you're teaching yourself, and the world, that this is what you're willing to accept. But when you walk away, you reset the standard. You tell yourself, I am worthy of real connection. You tell the world, I am not afraid to be alone, because I know my worth. And when that becomes your energy, people feel it. You start attracting those who align with your self-respect, your depth, your standards. Letting go is not the end, it's a beginning. Yes, it may hurt at first. You may grieve the potential. The memories. The version of her that once felt close. But every time you choose to move forward instead of staying stuck, you become stronger. Letting go doesn't erase the past. It simply releases you from trying to relive it. It sets you free to write something new. To become someone wiser. To love again. But this time, from a place of wholeness. So if she's ignoring you, if she's gone silent, if you've done your part and still feel like you're begging to be seen, stop. Not because you're giving up, but because you've finally woken up. You're no longer willing to abandon yourself just to be chosen. You're ready to choose you. And that is the moment your life begins to change. Conclusion. When a woman ignores you, it's easy to feel rejected, confused, or even powerless. But that moment of silence is not your downfall, it's your turning point. How you choose to respond says more about your character than her absence ever could. You don't need to chase, convince, or prove your worth to anyone who chooses to look the other way. Real strength is found in stillness, in self-respect, and in the ability to walk away with your dignity intact. The truth is, not every woman who captures your attention deserves your energy. These 7 actions, staying calm, giving space, focusing on self-growth, becoming genuinely valuable, reevaluating the relationship, communicating without pressure, and ultimately letting go, are not tactics to win her back. They're pillars of emotional maturity that help you win yourself back. You deserve connection that flows, not confusion that lingers. You deserve a woman who reciprocates your effort, not someone who disappears when things get real. So let this moment teach you. Let it sharpen your awareness, refine your standards, and awaken the man within you who no longer begs to be chosen, but chooses himself first. Because when you become the kind of man who respects his own time, energy, and peace, you don't just attract love. You attract the right love. The one that sees you. The one that stays. Thank you for watching the video until the end. I hope that today's sharing about love will bring you new perspectives and help you gain valuable lessons. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and share with your loved ones. I am very grateful for your companionship, and hope that each video will help you get closer to a happy and sustainable love. See you in the next videos. Wish you a wonderful and inspiring day.